Might help if I put the mic up to my face. It could possibly help. It could potentially make the show sound slightly better if I'm actually listening to the microphone. I love Big Blue. Big Blue Forever already came out and says, how will Joe screw this up? Come on, guys. A little confidence. A little faith. You know, you hope in all hurry. You try and all plan. We'll do what's necessary because even a miracle needs a hand. I don't know how Joe's going to screw it up. Free agency, the official tampering period starts mañana. So that'll be good. I mean, that'll be interesting. I think we're going to do it starts at noon. So we are going to do I think we're going to do an 11:59 a.m. show till about 1 p.m. So make sure you come into the room and stay tuned for that. Zacatech says, Tim forgot we spring forward. I didn't forget. I was just late. Kevin says, good morning, Tim. Good morning to you, Big Don in his house. Chris, what's up, Chris? Good morning, Tim. Good morning to the chat. OG Knockout also is here, of course, saying, good morning. What's up, Tim? What's good? Matthew. What's up, Matthew? Good morning, Tim. Good morning, OBB fam. Your mic is on. Yeah, I know my mic was on, but I didn't have it towards my face. I did one of these when I was about to talk. And then I was like, oh, shit, I got to put this thing here. Don. What's up, Tim? Good daylight savings time. J-Card Sports says, hearing Giants really love Drake Maye. The brisket was great. The Drake Maye thing, I keep seeing reports on that as well. But like I said, it's another Daniel Jones. It's another Daniel Jones pick. It's another Daniel Jones scenario. I mean, it's one of those things that he is a stronger, bigger, and I think a bigger arm Daniel Jones. But the problem is this: we already have that. We've seen it before. We think, there's Rocky Road, and we have sugar-free vanilla. Darious Williams, the former quarterback of the Jacksonville Jaguars, as Don would say, the Jaguars, and of course with the Rams, who helped the Rams win a championship, is visiting the Giants today. He's an interesting guy, undrafted free agent. 30 years old. It looks like he's going to be a replacement for Adoree Jackson, potentially a replacement of Adoree Jackson, because people keep forgetting we lose Adoree Jackson, Darnay Holmes, and Keenan Crossan. So we're going to need some corners. He had 4 interceptions, 19 pass deflections last year. Problem is he's probably going to want Adoree Jackson money. He's probably going to want at least $13 million. And honestly, if I'm going to give $13 million, I'd rather give it to the guy that's 20-something years old, 26 years old, and Adoree Jackson, than bring back a guy that, we don't know how he's going to fit into the system, because we don't know what the system even is yet. So he's visiting the Giants today, which should be interesting. There's a lot of speculation and talk that the Giants are going to go after and get an offensive lineman. They're going to go get a guard. We're sitting in around $38 million, and we got a little less than that. People are talking about Robert Hunt out of where's Robert Hunt at? He's out of Miami, going to Miami. I love it because they still say the door is open for the return of Ben Bredeson and Justin Pugh. Why? Why? And here's the thing about Hunt and Darious Williams. Okay, we're gonna do math with Tim, kiddies. Hunt's probably gonna look around for about $60 million. Williams probably gonna look for about 12. That's 28 an average. That's 28 an average salary. So you figure with bonuses and they do some team friendly stuff, which I don't know why they would, but if they did, especially if the Giants decide to overpay, that 28 is probably going to come in around 20. So out of your 38 million, you are going to take 20 out of that 38 million, and not forgetting the millions, the 12 million or so we're going to need for the rookie draft class. Now, of course, with the rookie draft class, you only need to have that money for the guarantee contracts, which is usually your first and your second rounder. So let's say it's 11 million. You're only going to need like 4 right off the bat. The rest of the contracts won't become guaranteed, of course, onto the cap unless they make the team. So let's just say you're going to give them 28. You're going to give them 4. There's 32. Carry the 6. Yeah, you're going to need more than that. You're going to need more guys than that. Well, I would love to make this big splash. Well, I would love to make something huge happen. It would be a giant thing to do. We are going to get a offense. We're going to pay $16 million for an offensive lineman, and we're going to ignore all the other problems. That you need a quarterback, you need a running back, you need at least 2 wide receivers, you need a tight end. You're probably going to need another guard as well, and you need some backups. But we're going to spend $16 million on a guy who's going to be plug and play, but you have question marks on 3 other spots in the line. That would be a giant thing to do. Then you're going to go out and get a 30-year-old, soon to be 31-year-old cornerback with a history of injuries and pay him the same amount of money you could have gave Adoree Jackson. That's a giant thing to do. Great balls of fire. Let's see. Let's get into the chat here. Let's see. Chris says, I agree with Big Blue. How will Joe screw this up? Zach Attack wants to, how was the brisket? Brisket was very good. Brisket was excellent. Juan Ventura says, good morning, Tim. Good morning, chat. OG Knockout saying Justin Fields might be our next quarterback. If you go out and get Justin Fields, if you go out and use one of your, even if you could use the 3rd pick. I think Joe's only got 7 picks this year. You go out and get Justin Fields with that 3rd pick. I am fine with that. And then you go draft a wide receiver. Then you go draft an offensive lineman. Then you go draft maybe an edge. I'm fine with that. I'm good with that. Because more likely we're going to suck this year anyways. Zach Tech says, what do you think McCarthy equals minus DJ's comp? What do you think? McCarthy minus DJ's comp? You have to rephrase that, Zach. I don't know what that means. Matthew says, good. Just say no to Drake's. Just say no to drugs. Let us see. Celebrity may drink Jack Daniels. What did Joe do to encourage such a virtuoso? Sign Dexter and AT to great contract, escape hatch after 2 years. That's you summed it up. And I loved it because someone on Twitter said to me yesterday, I love the fact that you are the only one that doesn't give Joe a free pass. And I'm not trying to be a dickhead about it. I'm not trying to be mean about it, but he's got 2 years of a body of work of free agencies, draft, and trades. What has he done besides get Bobby Okereke and Banks and then re-sign a bunch of Gettleman guys? And then re-sign them poorly in reference to way he spaced out the contracts. I'm just literally throwing that out there. What has he done? Most of his free agents are flameouts. His trade, you look at the Waller trade, most of his drafts, I love it. We talked about it before. Nobody can screw up. He thought he was a genius. Comes out and goes, well, nobody can screw up 5 and 7. Let's see. Kavon Thibodeaux, 7.5 sacks in 3 games and disappeared for an abundance afterwards. Actually, people forget the shit sandwich he had because talk shit about the fans after week 3. Everyone loved him when he went on his sack run, and then he didn't have sacks for like 6 games, and then talk shit again. Evan Neal is not looking good right now. I'm not calling Evan Neal a bust yet because I'm going to give Evan another year. I'm not going to switch him to guard. You look at all the other offensive linemen he's drafted. You look at all the other players that he's drafted. There are a lot of question marks on this, and we said it before. If you literally go and look at this roster, and you break it down from 2021 to now, this roster probably has less talent than 2021 right now as it stands. Of course, we know you still have the draft, still have free agency, but we say that every year. We still have the draft, we still have free agency. We say this every year. And now I'm supposed to sit there and say, well, we got to give Joe another shot. Yeah, we do. But I thought by year 3, the cap would be fixed. I thought by year 3, we would have a foundation of fundamentally sound young players. I didn't think we were going to go out and trade for people or sign people that don't really fit the system. I didn't think we were going to, you could say whatever you want. You still if market value dictates you overpaid for Bobby Okereke, but we talked about it before. It's the importance of Bobby Okereke to the team, which is why you can value his salary at that. But if you go by market value, you overpaid more than about $5 million. JMS, love him. Great kid. Undersized center. And I want to talk about Jason Kelce, but give me other names besides a Pro Bowler. Former wrestler, and I understand how come he's not understanding leverage yet. Maybe it was the offensive line coach. Maybe R0B was right, and it was Bobby Johnson. I don't know. But you can't keep just believing blindly that people are going to fix shit when you're 3 years later, we still got the same problems. We still got the same salary cap issues. We still have the devoid of talent. And I'm supposed to sit there and take a shit-eating grin and be like, don't worry, Joe's got it. Don't worry, guys. No worry, guys. No one's driving me off Twitter. How's it going? What's up, Tim? What's going on, Big Blue Chat? I think trading for Fields, if they're not drafted a quarterback, is the best move. I don't want Russell Wilson. If you get Russell Wilson as a stopgap for 1 year, and you give him the veteran minimum, why wouldn't you bring him in? If you watch some of his plays, what's up, Dr. Garrett? If you watch some of his plays last year in Denver. He actually there was moments he looked really good. I was watching the Denver Minnesota game. They had the replay on last night. I don't know why the hell I was watching it because it's football and I watch football. He looked good. I think the offense I just didn't fit from what he needs to do. Chris says let's sign Wilson, baggage and all, trade down for more picks, draft Penix and a bunch more. I would sign Wilson, I would trade down, and I would draft Penix. Better yet, I would sign Wilson, take Chippy, my neighbors, and then I would trade back into the first round using my 2 seconds and grab Penix. People are like, well, he's this statuesque guy. He's going to get himself killed. He knows how to move in the pocket. Read the running back and safety market perfectly this year. How has he read it perfectly this year? Everyone's like, well, the safety market there's a glut in the safety market. There's a glut of 30-year-old safeties who are coming off injuries. You're talking about a 24-year-old safety coming into his prime, a guy that can play in the box and also play safety, strong safety, and free safety, and play linebacker and played every single snap last year. He's not just a safety. And the running back market has been like this for 2 years. Joe's read shit. I'm getting tired of Joe in some regards. I haven't reached Gettleman sickness, but I'm getting tired of Joe. I really am. And I'm tired of I don't want to get into let's go yell at Joe today. I don't want to get into that. But yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. When you follow something blindly, when you sit there and you succumb to the mob who is leading the charge and you don't think for yourself, that's how you grow a fan base of unintelligent fans. For those that question things, those that sit there and say, those that raise their hand and say, I have a question. I love the fact that when I stood up at the Giant Town Hall last year and I asked Daniel Jones a question, it was a very benign question. It wasn't a tough question, but it was a question that needed to be asked. I got booed. I got razzed and everything else. Now these same people, then a couple of months later, I go to the rookie symposium and there's people in there pointing at me going, that's the guy that asked Daniel Jones the question at the town hall. That's the asshole. Now I go on social media. Now I go on Twitter. I would say 80% of the fan base is now done with Daniel Jones. If you would have questioned this 2 years ago, maybe you would understand that this just isn't the way the NFL is run. But no, we are lemmings and we blindly follow the Giants off the cliff. But the cliff, there's nothing to catch us at the bottom of the cliff. There's no net. There's no net. There's no safety net. And finally, we are swinging the pendulum around. Where I said it before. Before I was alone in some regards. Now I turn around.
There isn't anything for you here. I have men at my back, and you stand alone and defy me. I'm not alone.
As Russell Wilson says, I'm not alone. Now we have the OBB cult. We have the OBB nation. We have the OBB army. We're growing a base of intelligent fans. Of fans that not only understand football, but get and understand the philosophy of building a team. And I'm not taking credit for that. Because I guarantee people are out there doing their due diligence. People are out there looking into things. People are out there questioning. Those 100-something people, you people in the chat, the 12,000 people that follow, everything else, you are growing your own contingents. You are growing your own philosophy. You are making the Giant fan base smarter. Big Blue says, this team never ends. Chris says, fix the offensive line. We've been fixing the offensive line. We took, 5 offensive linemen in the first 2 or 3 rounds in the last 3 years or whatever it is. We've been trying to fix the offensive line. I'm not thinking it's the offensive line. I'm thinking it's the quarterback. Just throwing it out there. Zach says, reports the market value is $3 million, 29.9. I don't go by the market value crap. You know that, Zach. Market value is whatever a team wants to pay for somebody. So if the Giants have already said they're not going to pay Barkley $10 million, I don't think he's going to get $10 million. He might get $10 million the first year, then like 8 and 8 or something like that, but he's not getting $10 million. Barkley is smart. He's just going to go someplace warm. He's going to go someplace where the sun's out. He's going to go someplace where maybe there's a quarterback named after a bird with feathers. Maybe he's going to go somewhere where there's a coach that's a Wolverine. That's where I would go. Big Blue says, oh my God, no Pew, no Ben. Kevin says, if we were flush with money, I would love Hunt, but we're not. Good point. I could see us we have been bringing on Leonard Floyd for how many years now? I remember when Leonard Floyd first hit free agency. I did a video about him. Being that pass rushing linebacker the Giants could get. But of course we would bring in him. He's 32 years old. He had 10.5 sacks last season. You know, that's someone that the Giants would bring in. And again, I think he's another guy that's going to want money. If we were only a couple players away, yeah, I would say bring in these guys, but we don't have a foundation. I can't keep bringing in 30-year-olds. Depth. We need depth. Good afternoon, says Dominic Palma. Big Blue says, I can't wait till Jones is finally off this team. We got at least another year. Jones is said to be uncuttable because of his contract. A post June 1st cut would be spread over 2 years. Here's the problem. You also have the dead cap number in 2025. So you're spreading more money over 2 years. No, he is uncuttable right now for this team. This was the poison pill year. We talk about Jeremy Lin when he went to Houston with the Knicks and how he screwed the Knicks because he had the contract with the poison pill and there was no way the Knicks were going to match it because of the accelerators. That's kind of what happened. That's why this contract was not a good contract. Dom, we won and we're on top of I don't want to talk about no friggin' soccer. Good morning, Nick. Let's see here. How is every team good with cap? Sick of this bullshit with the cap. I wish I could. I don't make math. Justin Fields is cheap now, but because a lot of teams value him right now, Justin Fields is better than a lot of quarterbacks coming out this year. I think Justin Fields is on par with some quarterbacks coming out this year. I think Caleb Williams has the bigger upside. I think Jaden Daniels probably has the bigger upside. I do think he's probably ahead of people like Maye and McCarthy. I think he's going to be equal to Penix, but as a value for a guy going into year 4 with a 5th-year option, and if he turns out to be something and you only give up a 3rd rounder or something like that for him, the value of his contract, and honestly, you can let him play out this year like almost like a rental and then decide whether you want to pick up the 5th-year option and then renegotiate his contract. But we don't do stuff like that. We'd say more 13 years, but in you can't. That's the problem. Caleb, you're I'm not going to get into it, but you're not looking at you're looking at Sports Track and all these other places. It's like I could already tell. My expectations are low. I'm not accepting anything else. Tom says I suggest a segment of the fans will go nuts if we do this. I am content not making a big free agent splash unless it's a quarterback. So we finally fix our cap, a milestone for years, and move forward in 2025. Yeah. Yeah. Dom gets it. Why doesn't Joe Schoen and John Mayer get it? Dom gets it. If Dom gets it, anyone could get it. Yeah. And bringing guys that have value, not only contractually, but age-wise and potential. And we talked about it, potential talent. I love William Gay Jr., the linebacker out of Kansas City, except for what he did at the parade. But they were all stupid at the parade. He's progressed through the Kansas City system. He kind of reminds me of Antonio Pierce a little bit, the way he was in Washington before he came over to New York. Big, strong kid, fast, can cover, can rush, can play the run. He just needs more snaps. He needs to be on the field more. What do you think of JJ's player comp? The players comp. They did a thing where they compared players. They always do this thing where they take draft picks and compare them to current NFL players. And JJ McCarthy's comparison is Daniel Jones. I'd be like, no. Let's see. Guilty says minimal cap space, only 7 draft picks, nowhere near a 53-man roster. What could go wrong? You could have Daniel Jones as your quarterback. Mr. McCarthy, as a Michigan fan, I'm worried about the Giants targeting him. If the Giants were to target J.J. McCarthy later in the draft, not at 6, maybe in the low 20s, maybe in the second round, I don't have a problem with it. 659 passes over the last 2 seasons, was not asked to do everything. And people will point out that when he was asked to do everything, he did it well. And we've talked about this before. 2 years ago, there was a guy who ranked 7th in the league in deep ball passes. 7th in the league in total out of 32 players. 7th. And then you looked at the fact that he only threw 13 deep ball passes compared to the next person was like 45. His name's Daniel Jones. And 2 of the touchdowns, his only 2 touchdowns on his deep balls, were busted plays by Darius Slayton. Small samples are not good. Let's see. Waller and Campbell. Holy shit, that was a bad move. I thought Paris Campbell was going to come in here and really do something. I really did. I think he got in the doghouse early. And then I think he just never recovered. I really thought he was going to do something. I was wrong about that one. Nick says I'm just not excited about the season. I thought that's what you said. I was hoping that wasn't. As a season ticket holder, I don't know if I'm a season ticket holder yet because I haven't turned in my money. I'm not ecstatic. I'm not thrilled. I don't have as much hope and expectations as I did last year. Juan says, I'd be okay with Russell, maybe draft McCarthy and let him sit and learn a year or 2. McCarthy's going to have to sit. I think everyone is pretty well has the understanding that you need to hit the like. I don't know why, but you need to hit the like. He's going to have to sit. He's going to have to. So you're going to need a quarterback to come in. And it's just, I mean, you're really going to worry about Daniel Jones? Hold on, someone's texting me. All right. Are you really going to be that person that's going to allow Daniel Jones to mentor anyone? Nick says, Joe hasn't shown he can draft well. Not yet. Outside of Deontay Banks, I think he might have been more of a system fit for a wing, so we got to see what happens next year. Hope I'm wrong. How come we screwed up DJ? How come it doesn't apply? You know what I love? Everyone that goes against Saquon Barkley. We should just let him go. He couldn't even run. What a bum. Couldn't even rush for 1,000 yards. What the hell's wrong with him? He sucks. So the excuse that Daniel Jones doesn't have an offensive line does not apply to the running back. Saquon Barkley has not had an offensive line since he was drafted in 18 and still rushed for over 5,000 yards, 3 seasons of 1,000 yards or more. Had an injury season in there, but everything that applied to Daniel Jones does not apply to the franchise running back. Sometimes you got to think. The day that Daniel Jones is released, I'll be excited. Not to be excited for now. I'll be excited too when he's gone. Dominic says, "What's up, Dom? Sadly, we can't this year. Too expensive to release. No, we can't. It's a poison pill. What's up, Doctor? Doctor, to get anything I can take us a doctor, to relieve my belly. You can put the lime in the coconut and mix it all up." LJ says, "I like Russell Wilson idea. I like the idea. Russell Wilson. If he comes in at a veteran minimum, I'd take Russell Wilson. He's going to get $19 billion from Denver. Denver knows that they're not going anywhere this year." Chris says, "Good morning, Tim. The Russ hate is silly." Chris, thank you. Thank you. You have a guy that with the 2 Super Bowls has thrown for 40,000 yards, 200 something touchdowns, been to the playoffs multitudes of times. And he wasn't a fit in Denver. He still last year threw for over 3,000 yards, 26 touchdowns, and 28 touchdowns, whatever, and only 8 interceptions. And in the Annals of Giants history recently of the quarterback, that type of season anoints you $160 million. He's been nothing but a consummate professional, except when people say he got a little soured at the end of his tenure in Seattle. But he's still Russell Wilson. Do I think he's Russell Wilson from 5 years ago? No. Could he be Russell Wilson from last year? I would take that. Get a couple offensive linemen. Get some, I'm not saying get a big target wide receiver. I love it. Oh my God. I got to get off topic. Xavier Worthy. People are like, we need to draft him now. Because imagine having Worthy, Wandell, and Hyatt. Imagine that. Okay. Yes, Worthy has speed. Speed to burn. 4.21. Yes. Look good in Texas. Yes. Ask Ronaldo Nehemiah and other people like that. They had all the speed in the world, but did nothing. Ask Jerry Rice, who ran like a 4.7 at the combine. Everyone told him he doesn't have any speed. He just has football speed. And if you have a guy that has a slight of build, who has a difficult time getting off the line and getting knocked off his routes by bigger defenders, not looking at you, Jalen Hyatt. So you're going to have 2 of those guys and a Smurf. And if you have an offensive line, or you're telling me you have an offensive line that you're worried about pass protection, how are these guys going to get downfield? You don't have to worry about Wandell because he doesn't play more than 3 yards off the line. How are these guys going to get off how are they going to get down the field? Vinny G says, "Great point on Shane." You're welcome. Nick says, "My worry about Russell is that the Giants will put all that stock in him and not draft." No, you have to. The problem with Russell Wilson is you have to draft a quarterback then. Then if you took McCarthy in the 2nd round or later in the 1st or took Penix, I'd be fine. And people are like, well, what does it care if you're fine? Because I'm a season ticket holder. I pay to sit in the stands. I always loved the people that kept telling me, why do you care how the Giants spend the money? It's not your money. Yeah, it is. I can show you a check. Yeah, it is. It's my money. And it's my party, and I'll rhyme if I want to. Matthew says, Wilson played well enough last year. I just know how much he moves the needle, though. It's not about just moving the needle. It's about getting a consummate professional at quarterback. It's about getting a Tyrod Taylor who doesn't suffer from injuries as much. It's about getting a guy that if you bring in someone, he could use his vast knowledge to tutor that guy. Putting Penix under the tutelage of Russell Wilson, I would love that. But at the end of the day, we can't be stuck with Tommy. We're bringing in a quarterback no matter what. We can't be stuck with Tommy DeVito and an injured and I love it. People kept blasting Saquon Barkley about being injury prone. He's always injury prone. 2 neck injuries and an ACL in 3 years, and he's had 1 full season. That's worth $160 million. Well, it says, except for Caleb, all the other quarterbacks in the draft need time to sit and learn. I think Jaden Daniels could play. I think that Drake Maye could play in the right system. I think Penix, outside of Williams, is the most pro-ready. But everyone else, I think you're right, would have to sit at least a year. Davies in his house. This is Tim, my favorite New York Giants content creator. Dr. Gertz, hit the damn like, or Tim is assuring us Daniel Jones is getting a Mahomes-like extension. I wish we gave him a Mahomes-like extension, but Mahomes took less money. Great balls of fire. The sun's out today, so I'm 37 likes. Come on, get up to 50. Let's see. I take Zudo at 6, trade back into the 20s, and get Penix. I like it, but I still like Neighbors. I would do either or. I just like Neighbors though. I don't know what. Big James is in his house. Hit the chat. Hit the chat. Salute to the chat. Tim, I'm with you, Tim. On Joe, I don't know how much I trust him. It's not about. It's about the fact now that you have to kind of look at the situation and say, you have to kind of, if you have to keep convincing yourself that Joe Schoen is the guy, then there could be a problem. What do we? Lennon says, I'm not convinced that Joe Schoen is the answer. I don't understand the hesitation with Wilson. I would sign him. I'm not convinced on Thibodeaux, on Neal, on there are the answers. They haven't matched the buzz. They haven't. And I'm not bashing what Kavon Thibodeaux did last year, but he did basically what Marcus Golden did. Do we all forget the wonderful Marcus Golden? Do we? and I'm not bashing Marcus Golden as a player, but Marcus Golden should not be on the same level or spoken in the same reverence as in our old buddy Kavon Thibodeaux. And I love it because Marcus Golden's big season with the Giants, 10 sacks and 72 tackles, played in all 16 games. That was his big year. That was his money year outside that 1 year in Arizona where everyone fell in love with him. People forget Marcus Golden also played in 80-something% of the snaps just like Kavon did. But he also had like 30, 40 more tackles. And still had 10 sacks. So if you take that and extrapolate it, Marcus Golden should get $9,478. $19 billion, I'm sorry. Joe Schoen is worse than Mel Kiper. I don't know about that yet. We're getting there, though. David says, my problem is not getting rid of Jones. My problem is having a worse replacement. My problem is this. My problem is not having a plan. You went into the season with Tyrod Taylor. And you know that Tyrod Taylor has an history of injuries. And you didn't really think maybe we should start grooming a young quarterback, or maybe we should have another guy tucked in the practice squad that could come in and do something. Everyone forgets Tommy DeVito couldn't even throw the ball backwards. His first game. Couldn't throw the ball backwards. Couldn't throw a ball behind the line. What's up, James? Hope the family's doing well. We're going to suck again next year. Like Scar said, be prepared, young Simba. Oh, my goodness gracious. What does Juan says? This is the only rational and valid New York Giants channel. Fireside Giants is also a good channel. I don't know if they're a good channel. I don't remember who they are. I know they're not Chat Sports. What's going on, Kevin? Sean says, howdy, Tim. I'm all over with the speculation. I'm going to wait and see how the chips fall. I'm going to wait and see how we spend this money. I really am. And I think that, like I said, it's one of these things that you got to kind of look at the situation and look at who the Giants. I'm very curious to see what happens to start at noon tomorrow. I'm very curious to see, because, like I said, I know Darious Williams is coming in. I get it. I understand it. But I don't understand why you wouldn't just keep a younger Adoree Jackson. That's what I don't get. Unless you think Adoree Jackson was a wink guy. You know, I understand trying to go after a big name guard or a big, but you know, a good guard like a premier guard is going to cost you minimum 12 to 18 million. You only got 38. So I mean, I keep looking at. I'm gonna pull up my spreadsheet. I keep looking at my numbers, and let me see. Where the hell is my spreadsheet? This is the wrong computer. I think it's on the computer upstairs, which should be attached to this computer, but it's not working. I can't pull the spreadsheet out. Oh my God. All right. The Giants. Okay. I have about 39.5 million, which is including 6 million in rollover. We already have over 19 million in dead cap space. We have an active contract of over 200 million, like around 201. You got an adjusted cap space this year with the rollover money from last year, which was 6 of about 260 million. So the Giants are looking at about 39.5 million right now. You look at the contract values of what you can do is you can move on from Waller. You're going to save about 7, so you can do that, but then you lose. Hopefully he just retires. Unless you're going to restructure the problem is, once again, you are cap heavy on your top 3 guys. You have 49 or 48 players on the roster. You have Daniel Jones taking up 18% of your contract. You have Andrew Thomas taking up another almost 10. So that's about 28. So then you have another 8 on 8% of the contracts for Dexter Lawrence. So what did I say? That was 28. So you're looking at about 36% of your contract values tied up between Daniel Jones, Andrew Thomas, and Dexter Lawrence. I love Dexter Lawrence. I love Sexy Dexy. I really do. I really love Sexy Dexy. I love him like a man gonna love another man, but not in that way. But he's not Aaron Donald. He is not in the prime Aaron Donald. And he's getting money that he should be at that level. Now, I understand that you are paying him in reference to contract value of the market, but this is a guy that had 53 tackles, 4.5 sacks. He's got 21 tackles over 5 seasons with the Giants. His high tackle season was in 2022, was just 7.5. His highest tackle combined tackles were 68. So in 5 years, he's got 20 something sacks. And is he a complete dominant player? Does he make a difference every single game? No, he doesn't. At times, yes, he's a game changer. He's a needle mover, 100%. But Aaron Donald, who was on the downside of his career, if you take a look at Aaron Donald's first 5 years in the NFL, 9 sacks, 11 sacks, 8 sacks, 11 sacks, 20. And he averaged over 60 tackles a game. And the majority of them were solo. He'll have like 10 assists, 11 assists, 9 assists. He was a needle mover. He was a game changer. And I'm not saying Dexter Lawrence isn't that way at times. But if you look at his statistic to contract value, you're paying a guy $23 million with a $62 million dead cap number to be a good to very good at times defensive tackle. We're paying him like an edge rusher, which we need. Next week's going to be very interesting. I can't wait till Monday. Mr. McCormick says these are the same fans that ran laps for Joe Judge. They aren't going to be taken seriously. I'm way behind the comments. I am way behind. Davey says, if I am a team and I would rather have dumb fans than intelligent fans because they are easier to please. Yeah, I wish we did. James says this. Let's see here. Landon, you're misrepresenting the New York Giant fan base. No, not more. Landon, I go to all the events. I go to all the games. Maybe 50% or 40% last year, but the last 4 seasons, no. Not even close. James says, I think the Giants fandom is going to be stuck on stupid for a while, depending on their efforts. Gabriel says, I think Shane has laid his bet in the first 2 picks to non-differential makers at 5 and 7. Hard to overcome. You're not always going to hit in the draft. Just like you're not always going to hit the like. But if you did, I'd appreciate it. And I appreciate what Joe hit on the draft. You're not always going to hit in the draft. The draft is a crapshoot. The draft is not something that you could, you could think you're taking the best player that's coming out of his position in 20 years, and it turns out he's a bum. So I can't blame Joe for that. But I do blame you for sitting there looking smugly after the draft going, after the first round, how do you screw up 5 and 7? Well, you may have. I'm just talking about that. James says, can we stop talking about Jeremy Lin? His folk tale lives on just like Jones' miracle in the Minnesota playoff game. Chris says, we can't bring in guys approaching 30 or over 30, getting younger, draft quarterback. Fix this shit. We need to find starting tomorrow where Joe's mindset is. And that's it. Young guys, they don't have to be big name guys. And and this is what I pray. Oh yeah, we pray. Oh yeah, we pray. We got to pray just to make it today. This is what we pray. That Joe's team is doing their due diligence and finding talented players who may be on the cusp are taking that next step, who have a good contract position value that can fit in our roster and fit in our scheme. There's so many players out there that people are like, this is the guy we got to sign. And I love it because I posted it before. It's the picture of Squidward wearing the Giants out going, sign this guy. Okay. 60% of the time of those players that these people are saying we should sign don't fit the system, don't fit positionally, don't fit the roster, don't fit the salary cap. And this is what I hope Joe is sitting there truly doing his due diligence. I know he is. And he's looking for those, I don't want to say hidden gems, because everyone's always looking for hidden gems. Everyone's looking for an Antonio Pierce. Everyone's looking for that. But looking for guys that have high, potentially high contract to position value, who can come in and may not have been a full-time starter, but could come in and make an impact on this team. And that's what I hope he goes, instead of trying to go out for the splashy names. Instead of trying to go out and get those guys that you're like, okay, well, you know what? Here we are. We're going to get this guy. A guy that I wanted in free agency a couple years back. I think it was last year. And I thought he would be a good fit for the team was David Long Jr. He was out of the Titans. He went over the Dolphins last year, had 130, had a linebacker, had 113 tackles. He's one of those guys that reminds you of like a little bit of a Bobby Okereke. And he had this high, for his age, he had a high value. And he went over to he left the Titans and went over to the Dolphins. And you know what his contract value is? Do you know what his free agent contract value is? Does anyone want to take a guess? He got a 2-year deal worth $10 million. I think it was worth less than $8 million. And he takes up less than 1.5% of the cap space for Miami. And he was an impact player for Miami. I love that guy. I watched him for years in Tennessee. I thought he'd be a great fit for the Giants. And instead, they gave all that money to Bobby Okereke. Now, I'm not saying that's not a good move, but Miami understood. They waded through the free agent market and they found a guy that fit their team and fit in contractually and gave them a high position value. And I think that's what the Giants need to do. That's all. I mean, it's not like, it's not one of those things that you're just looking at them. But I mean, that's what they need to do. That's what the Giants need to do. Will they do that? Lord only knows. Lord only knows. But if we could go out and find players, he signed a 2-year, $11 million contract. Think about that for a second. David Long Jr. signed a 2-year, $11 million contract with the vaunted Miami Dolphins. And he had similar stats to Bobby Okereke, who signed he signed a 4-year, $40 million contract with the Giants. It's about finding the talent. It's about finding the value. There are certain teams that do that extremely well, and there are certain teams that don't. James says, like button still needs smash, and I agree. Johnny ABA says, hey, Tim, why is JMS undersized? Are you actually referring to his football strength or his actual physical size? Isn't he as big, if not bigger, than some young? Yes, he is. But the problem is this. There is a difference between football strength and strength. There is a difference between football size in reference to your weight is not just your size. You have to remember that your weight, it's a lot of times it's your girth, it's your length, it's your how wide you are. And at 6'4", 210 pounds, he needs to put on like another 25, 30 pounds. He really does. At that frame, he needs to put on mass. Not weight. He needs to put on muscle and mass and understand using his leverage. Again, you're talking about young centers like Linderbaum and Humphreys. Yeah, that's great. But you're also not mentioning the other guys that are out there. Like when people talk about he's Jason Kelsey. Okay, well, let's talk about all the other undersized centers in this league that didn't cut it. Let's just not mention two names of two guys out of, we figure, let's see, 30. Let's just say, for argument's sake, let's just say two centers a team. And there's more, of course, for HC. But you're taking two guys out of 64. There's always a difference. The fairness is, what's up, Dom? It's Big Dom. I have an advantage over the Giants. I get math. Swing GM Timson swing culture. What's the good word? The word is what is the good word? Hold on. I know what the good word is. Hold on. I'm gonna get to it. We're gonna what you call it? We're gonna read that comment again. Hold on. Everyone just amuse themselves because I'm gonna amuse myself.
That's what she said.
Oh shit. When I push that button, it makes everything go back. Oh my goodness gracious. I really should. Oh, here we go. Let's go back to that one. And Dom says, in all fairness, I have advantages over Giants. I know math. GM swing coach says, GM Tim, what's the good word?
The word, sir, the word is no. I am therefore going anyway.
James says, any GMs going into his third year should have some young talent on the roster, but not just re-signing dudes who are already here. James gets it. Why doesn't everyone else get it? I want Landon wants. I want a dynamic playmaker. Keep JJ McCarthy. Let's see here. I'm the Papa. You have to decide on a 5th-year option the year before. Yeah, but that's fine. I'm already decided on it. Bruce, what's up, Bruce? I vote Tim gives his season tickets to the Animal Cruelty Center to show owners how not to treat their unconditional loves. Oh, that was wrong, but funny. Stanley says, hey, Timothy, I have a lot of fans not wanting J. McCarthy to be selected when McCarthy is 25-2 plus a national championship under his belt and compared to Dan. Yeah, but the problem is this. McCarthy, like Daniel Jones, did not have a large body of work. So I mean, you got to look at it that way. Let's see. Let's see here. I want to know what love is. I want you to show me. I'm reading something, so I just thought I'd entertain everyone by singing. Too legit to quit. Hey. What do we got here? Hold on, guys. I'm done singing there. For clarity, I do not want McCarthy. Okay, understand. Greg, what's up, Greg? If we select McCarthy, who reminds me of Zach Wilson, or draft I will watch this. I will not watch this team. Do not go with Joe Alt. We've talked about this before. Do not go with Joe Alt. Big Blue Forever says, is that a Guns N' Roses t-shirt? No, it's a Black Rifle AR-15 with roses and flower shirt. Welcome to the jungle. So James says the Saquon hate and the Jones love shows exactly what types of fan base the Giants have. I am shaking my head. Big Blue says Russell takes chances. Danny doesn't. Check downs a lot. Yeah. You're not wrong. Swing Culture says, I'm not optimistic. For some reason, I have faith Joe will make the right moves. I hope you're right. I really do hope he makes all the right moves. I hope he Tom Cruise it. And he goes for the ball, not the man. Because if Steph didn't do that, they would have won the championship game. And all that shit wouldn't have gone down. And he would have gotten his scholarship. And Greg T. Nelson would not have had to give him the scholarship out of pity to go to the engineering school. And then him and Leah Thompson could have lived happily ever after. If we get D, Will Neighbors, Ozuna B, Gabe, no Gabe Davis. And no Bryce Huff. No Bryce Huff. Bryce Huff, no. No Bryce Huff for you. No. For a minute there, I thought I was trading my dog. No. Bad dog. No, I don't say it to my dog. My dog is so crazy. I love that dog. I can't do Bryce Huff. Sorry. We've talked about it with
King of the almost sack.
You paid him for one season. You kind of forgot the other 6. You forgot the other years in with the Jets, and you forgot the first year with the Giants, and you gave him that money because he had that one big season. Bryce has 10 sacks, only 29 tackles, and only played like 40% of the plays, 42% of the plays, defensive plays. And he didn't start any games. So the logic behind giving him any money is insane. I see this on Twitter, and D1, I'm not making fun of you. D16Z, I'm not making fun of you. But the logic behind giving Bryce Huff any money is crazy. You're going to pay for a situational pass rusher who's only played in 40% of this. I love when people go, well, just imagine if he played in 80% of the snaps. Yeah, he might only have 10 tackles. He might only have 10 sacks. Remember when Kavon had all those sacks with like 6 games left and people were like, he's getting 20. Yeah, and he was stuck at 10.5. You don't know. I don't know. Also, he could be the greatest player ever, but I can't, as a team that's in the rebuild of a rebuild of a rebuild of a rebuild of a rebuild, bring in a guy and give him big money for one season when he only played in 40% of the snaps and kind of forget the other 3 years. People forget in 2021, he started 7 games and had 2 sacks. People seem to forget this. You know, he had almost 900 snaps before last year. And out of those 900 snaps, he only had 7.5 sacks. Yeah, let's run out and get that guy. Because we're not asking for trouble. Hey, ask David Hayward. Bay was fast, but didn't amount to hardly anything. It's John Ross, who Worthy beat by 1/10 of a second. Yeah, we remember John Ross. We had him here. John Ross had speed, and I'm not saying Xavier Worthy's not going to have nothing, but he's a slight of build guy. You want to team him with Jalen Hyatt, who's also a slight of build guy, and a Smurf. And Jalen already had problems getting off the line and getting knocked off his routes by bigger defenders. And you're going to hope that Worthy doesn't have the same issues, and you're going to put him in tandem together with a Smurf. Yeah, no, I'm not going to do that. Can't build a wide receiver room without a true X receiver. All of our wide receivers are slot guys. You're right. He sums it up. I know I said this before, but again, all the fans that wanted this win meaningless games, and now it's come back to haunt us. It really has. I never got into the Tommy DeVito insanity. People were saying I was just old and jaded. All I knew is we were playing bad teams, winning bad games, and all I did was watch our draft position. And then I knew the wheels were going to fall off the bus. And I kept telling people when this crashed, go back and watch the videos. I told people when this crashes, it's going to crash hard. And it crashed hard on national TV.
That's what she said.
Todd says, Tim, your money goes into the medium Pepsi fund. Come on. Yeah, I didn't even get my this is the thing that pissed me off. I'm not even going to talk about this because we talked about it before. It wasn't a medium Pepsi. Like, let's say you have 4 tickets It wasn't a medium Pepsi for 4 tickets. It was a medium Pepsi. So if you have 4 tickets, 4 people had to share the medium Pepsi. But they did send me the autographed helmet of Eli Manning. They did send me that, so because I won the pool. I won my the Giants have the free, what is it called? Not free agent. They do the what the hell is it called? They do the fantasy football draft thing, and I won my, it's for season ticket holders, and I won my division. I won my bracket, and it was nice. Like I said, I forgot all about it. And then I turned around, like I said, and my wife was like, you got a package from the Giants. And I was like, oh, all right, cool. I was like, that's pretty neat. I mean, I like to, I always like getting things. So I thought it was my rally pack for the season, because season ticket holders get these rally packs, and it's usually crap, but sometimes they were good. And you get a pennant, and we got plastic cups last year. Here we go. Here's the thing. There we go. There's the division. There was Online Big Blue taking the win in the fantasy football Super Bowl. I had a good team. I'm not gonna lie. I drafted well. I'm gonna give you a little hint. I don't get into fantasy football anymore. I don't play it anymore because I played for about 3 years, and there was 3 or 4 years I played in 11 leagues, and I won 10 of them, and I tied 1. So I've never lost in fantasy football yet. And I've done money leagues as well, but a lot of times I don't get invited back, which is fine, because you also talk. Shockingly, I know no one's going to believe this, but I talk a lot of trash. My name before I just started using Online Big Blue was El Presidente, because like a dictator, I don't lose, and I talk shit the entire time I'm not losing. And a lot of times I don't get invited back. My own college alumni group, after I won it 2 years in a row, did not invite me back. I was talking too much shit, evidently. And I say, you know what an easy way to stop someone from talking shit is? Beat them. And then you don't have to worry about it. But I'll give you a hint. I'll give you a fantasy football hint. Do not go for if you are in a league where you could trade picks and you have the first overall pick, do not keep that pick. Trade it for the last pick in the first round, especially if you have a rotational draft, which means you will get the last pick in the first round and the first pick in the second round, and draft a wide receiver quarterback combination that is going to give you big time numbers. Because you're going to get the points not only for the yards and the touchdowns, but you will also get the points for the yards and the touchdowns of your other guy. And the only problem is when you come up on the bye week, you're going to have to try to do things. But I'm going to tell you this. During the bye weeks, if you don't want to release a player, leave open spots. Like a lot of times I would just release my kicker. And I would only field 14 guys or 12 guys, whatever it is. Kind of like the Giants. You don't have room for 53 men? Don't worry about it. We're just not going to play 53 men. What you do is you don't sacrifice guys on your roster. And then what you do is you take those guys like your kicker and your defense, and sometimes a couple weeks when you have a lot of guys on the bye weeks, you just don't play them. Just leave that spot open. You waive those guys and bring another guy in, because you can make up the points with another player. Just a little tidbit there in reference to how to get that. Penix, Chris says, you just proclaimed the exact perfectly draft scenario. Wilson tutoring Penix, just about that for him. Just think about that. I've been talking about this, Chris. I've been talking about this for a while now. Like I've said, I did a whole video. I draft neighbors. I trade back up for Penix, and now I bring in Russell Wilson. And I let Daniel Jones go sell used cars. Kevin says they might be afraid to sign Wilson because he'll probably show how bad Tommy DeVito showed how bad he was. Robert says, hey, Tim, do you think the NFL has to change the CBA about giving quarterbacks the most money per team? It limits teams filling out expansion rosters like the Giants. That's why they said you got to win in the first 5 years of a high draft pick quarterback rookie deal. So I say you got to win the first 5 years. No, they're never going to change it because it's You have teams like the Eagles that don't seem to care about the salary cap because they understand the difference between dead cap money and actual money that goes against the cap. We've talked about it before with Harry Rosen. Hurts came to Rosen and said, listen, I want a no trade clause. I'm going to give up this, but I want a no trade clause. You give me that and I'll sign this contract. Howie looked at the deal and said, shit, yeah. You want to know why? Because the dead cap number is so high, but your salary against my cap is so low. I'm not getting rid of you anyway. You could suck and I'm still not going to get rid of you. So sure, take the no trade clause. Tyrod can't play 2 games without getting hurt. Exactly. Fireside Giants are the tennis players. I thought that was Fireside Giants. Not Chat Sports, Zach. What's the other one, Zach? That's the 10. No, Fireside Giants. Is that Fireside Giants? The one kid that looks like he's a toothpick with the beard with the goatee and he's a tennis player. But I thought Fireside Giants was somebody else. Hurst for real says, "What's going on, Tim? Get a 50-gallon drum. It'll do just as well as Justin Fields." Fireside Giants are young creators, but they are very prepared and good research. Chat Sports are a party with you and I, which you and I have both. Oh, which I have both. I am a party. I thought Fireside Giants was what's the other one, Zach, with the D3 offensive lineman? Let's see here. Tim says Fireside Giants are the YouTube that got connections to Mara's golf buddies. Oh, okay. Hung Dave. What's up, Hung Dave? Tim, I generally believe the Giants are going to be at the bottom of the standings of the NFC East with the Commanders if Commanders get a quarterback, we're in trouble. If the Commanders get a quarterback, we're in so much trouble. Oh my God. And then I look at the quarterback draft next year. If you don't find a guy this year, even if you get the first overall pick next year, I'm not sure it's a quarterback. Remember when everyone thought Spencer Rattler was going to be the first overall pick and a Heisman Trophy winner? How fast things fall. Preach, says Coach Dave. I don't know what I'm preaching about, but I know a guy we can draft that may be on the culmination of taking that next big step. Okay, who is it? Jeremy Lin was discriminating on. I know Black History just ended, but you need to find a different word, brother. What did I miss about the Jeremy Lin thing? Talk with Zoe. What's up, Zoe? What's up, big man? Those that don't know, go talk with Zoe. Do you think the Giants will trade up or stay at 6? The problem is they got to find someone that's willing to trade up with them. That's the problem. You got to find someone that's willing to give up that pick. I mean, I think if anyone that would be able to trade up would be probably, I would think Arizona. I think Arizona would probably want to do that. But I don't know. It could potentially, and I keep thinking this, could potentially 3 quarterbacks go in the top 3? Could it be Caleb, Daniels, and May? And then could that happen? I don't know. You can't take Joe Alt, though. You can't take Joe Alt. Do not take Joe Alt. If you take Joe Alt, I quit. And it's not that I think Joe Alt's going to be a bad player, but we've talked about this before. You already took a left tackle in college and moved him to right tackle. Now you potentially want to move that right tackle to right guard. So you're going to take another left tackle in college, move him into the right tackle position after you drafted the left tackle, moved him to the right tackle position, and then moved him to guard, and then you're going to have Jameis. I said it before. I'll just drive to whatever quarterback is starting for the Giants, run to his house, and mercifully hit him in the knees with this, so he doesn't have to play behind that offensive line. Because that's just a recipe for disaster. Herschel says Bart Oates wasn't exactly the biggest guy. Yeah, Bart Oates was also playing in the 80s. The average guy in the 80s on the defense was like 250. There's a difference. There is a difference between. I'm not one of these guys that says this guy couldn't play in the era of this guy. But there is a difference. Bart Oates, when he played, was still 6'4". I forget what Bart Oates was. But I know I know Bart Oates was 6'4". Bart Oates looks like Bart Oates was 6'4", 275, playing in the 80s. That was big in the 80s. Came over from the Philadelphia Stars of the USFL. People forget. T-Brad is late to the party. It ain't a party unless it's a T-Brad party. What's up, everyone? Don't forget to hit the like button, because if you don't hit the like button, then you know what I'm going to do? I am not going to stream tomorrow. No, I probably still stream. I really don't care. Big O said, what's up, Big O? What's up, gente? Giants need to be more like a Corsi and find himself a Lomas Brown and a Michael Burrows. Oh my God, Lomas Brown and Burrows. James says, bro, why are you talking about who am I? I've missed this whole conversation about Jeremy Lin. Oh, because I'm talking about the Giants. I'm starting the Joe must go chant. He's clearly messed up every contract. He hasn't messed up every contract. I give the value of some of these contracts a B, except for the Dan Jones contract. That was an F. That was an F, big time F. But I give the timing of the contracts an F, and I give the way we bashed Gettleman for his cap management. I have to bash the cap management on this as well. I've said this before, and I've said this a million times. I am not the sharpest tool in the shed. But somehow, this dumbass here predicted beginning of the season last year that we would be out of cap space a little after midseason. If I'm able to do that, if I'm able to figure that out, if I'm able to see that at the end of training camp, how did the Giants not see it? That's why
King of the almost sack
got traded. That's why he got traded. Because of the fact that we didn't have any operational cap space to sign a quarterback. Because all you had was Danny DeVito, because Tyrod Taylor and Daniel Jones were both down. But if I can see this, if I can predict this, if a guy sitting in his basement office with an Excel spreadsheet, actually, no, I did this at the kitchen table. Sitting there with this Excel spreadsheet, looking at the numbers, charting out the season and estimating how much it's going to cost to move certain guys off the roster, doing some pre-planned injuries updates, and moving the spreadsheet that way, and watching it, and sitting there and saying, okay, by week 11, if not sooner, we are going to be out of cap space. If I can do that, how come people that are being paid to do that can't figure that out? T-Brad says, how many free agents will the Giants overpay? At least 3. Let's see. Can you play the friendly pass rusher? Of course we can play the friendly pass rusher. We got to find Kavon, the friendly pass rusher, because Davey wants me to play it, so I'm going to play it, and I do what people ask me to do. Not every time, though.
Hey, kids, look over there. Who is it? It's Kavon, the friendly pass rusher. Oh, no. Now he's gone.
I'd rather have Sam Huff. I don't think Sam Huff would. We could overplay Sam Huff. Stanley says, "Hey Tim. Too many people are underestimating JJ McCarthy. He's more of a winner than Daniel Jones. McCarthy has a high football IQ and can make pre-snaps read better than Jones. We don't know that, Stanley. We don't know that. He was not asked to carry the team at Michigan. He was not asked to be the focal point of even the offense at Michigan. Michigan, if you watch their games, ran the ball and played defense. I would not say McCarthy was a game manager, but he wasn't asked to carry the team. And we talked about this early in the stream. People can tell me, well, when he was asked to make the big throws, he did. Well, Daniel Jones 3 years ago or 2 years ago was 7th in the league in deep ball passes, but he only threw 7 times. He only threw 13 times and completed 7. The next guy threw like 43. Those numbers go down as the pass numbers go up. Nobody knows exactly what McCarthy's going to be. Skyline. Hey, Tim, if we draft a speedy wide receiver, we should get a big arm quarterback. Tommy and Danny won't cut it. I agree. Shout out to all the ladies in the live stream that deal with us supporting a sucky team. James, my wife deserves a medal for staying. Well, my wife deserves more than a medal. I'm going to build a statue. I'll build a statue to her because of the fact that she puts up with all this crap. Let's see here. Nick says, on a positive note, that Nick should be getting OG. OG should come. OG Ananobi should be coming back soon. The Bones Bros are hopefully he's running. He's got he's been playing under contact. He's been scrimmaging. So yeah, we should get OG soon. We got to get Randall back, and it'll be nice if we get Mitchie the Kid back too. Nice win over the Magic. Magic were a red hot team, and they basically ran into. It reminded me of a 90s Pat Riley Knicks defensive team 2 days ago against the Magic. It really did. Brother Raymond Felton was better and more consistent than Jeremy Lin. He was until he got traded the first time. Tim, talking trash is best in fantasy football. I hate quarterbacks taking early draft. I love running backs. Yeah, but David, the running back, I'm telling you, you can grab it like a running back now. You can grab them later in the draft. There's guys that have value in the draft. The reason why you get a quarterback wide receiver combination, because then if they have a big day, you are guaranteed big points. You are and especially if they have a nice little touchdown connection. I did years ago. I had Peyton Manning, and I can't forget the other big wide receiver he had, and I would be guaranteed with those two guys at like 60 points every game. Thoughts on restructuring? Only restructuring Andrew Thomas, no Dexter Lawrence. You can convert some of the salary into bonus money without too much of a cap ramification next year. I would do that. And I wouldn't do it a lot. I would do that. Let's see here. That's Talking Giants, brother. Talking Giants. I'm so far behind on the chat. I'm trying to get quick here.
That's what she said.
Oh, we got LJ. Alexander said that boy JJ. I prefer them to take Azuna, though they trade back up for him. I don't know. JJ McCarthy, and to Chris's point, I keep saying this. JJ McCarthy looks like a New England guy to me too. I'm telling you this. I still have this feeling I've been talking about for how long now that that New England's gonna go wide receiver, that they're gonna go Marvin Harrison Jr. and then trade back up to get someone like a JJ McCarthy or a Penix. I really do think that. I've been thinking that for a while, though. I did a whole video about that about a month ago. I don't know. Tim, the Jeremy Lin and me and James Williams difference of opinion. Oh, okay. I don't know what was going on with there. Oh, hi-yo. What's up, Tim? I'm warming up to the idea of drafting a wide receiver and trading back up for Penix. I think you can fix Mac Jones to the Jacksonville Jaguars for a late round pick. He did go to Jacksonville. Wow. So we are looking at is that finalized? Because let's see, agreed to trade Mac Jones to the Jags for a late round pick. That's good. Get rid of him. So the free agency is not free agency, but the precursor to free agency is already starting. First move. Hold on. We have it. We have it in from our source here. Hold on. I'm going to the online Big Blue newsroom here. Jacksonville Jaguars have traded for quarterback Mac Jones. I miss Bob Shepard. Sims to McConkey. 14 yards. First down. And you also love now betting for the Yankees. Shortstop, Derek Jeter. Let's see here. Stanley says, do you think Jonathan Brooks' skill set is closer to Saquon Barkley? And where do you? I project him in the second to third round. Brooks. I think he would be. I think he'd be a good guy. JJ can't make the simple throws. We don't know if he can make the simple throws yet. We got to wait and see. The Giants are going to sign Mitchell Trubisky. That would be a giant thing to do. Russell Wilson could be sitting out there. Hell, Jesus could be sitting out there. And we would sign someone like Mitchell Trubisky. That's something the Giants would do. We need an alpha male weapon. Well, we had one. It was called Saquon Barkley. And then we supposedly got one, and it was called Darren Waller. Don't always work out. 160 people in the chat. We have 69 likes. If I do the math, that's 164 people. That's 69 likes. Oh, it's 110 on this chat. Oh, see, my number combines everything. Oh, that's interesting. It's 110. My number combines everyone on Twitter and on New York Giants Live.com. And I forgot to post the stream on New York Giants Live. So these are the people on Twitter. That's pretty cool. I like it. How about a quality wide receiver since Odell Beckham? You're not wrong. Welp, New England definitely going QB. You got to remember, I don't know where we're going to go with this quarterback. I don't know where New England's going to go with this quarterback situation. I heard the rumor and the scuttlebutt that they may trade a pick and go out and get someone like Justin Fields and then draft Harrison. I think Justin Fields would be a good fit in New England. I really do. I think it'd be a good fit with the Giants too. But I really think he'd be, and if you get him another weapon, you know, it'd be crazy. If you got DJ Moore, you got the St. Pierre, whatever, and the other guy over in Chicago. What if Chicago goes Marvin Harrison Jr.? Screws everything up. And you got Khalil Herbert, the running back. You got the tight end that's there. And you fix the offensive line. And the defense really came on in the second half after they got Montez Sweat. Chicago, without even getting a quarterback, could be dangerous. They could be scary good. Especially if they get a second level running back, a big bruiser type guy, they could be good. What do you think about getting Neighbors then Spencer Rattler? No, I'm not a Rattler fan. I've said it before at the combine, Rattler looked rattled. The kid he looked a little rattled. Get those likes up, please. 71 likes. I never noticed. What does it look like on Twitter? When we stream this shit on Twitter, what does that look like? Where does that go? I don't know. Where is it? How do you find it? Oh my God, we got 50 something people watching us on Twitter. Oh my God, for those on Twitter, if I'm neglecting you, I apologize. I don't know. Can you chat on Twitter? Hi, guys. Let's see. Hey, I put a chat in Twitter. Oh, and it goes here. So the Twitter chats go in this chat. Oh, this is awesome, man. This is freaking awesome. I call this technology. Oh my God. Bears are keeping Fields if they go. I honestly, like I said, I'm not, I think I'm crazy. But if I'm New England, make a trade with the Giants for 3 or 2. What does New England pick? Is it 3 or 2? I can't remember. Make a trade with New England. Oh, yeah. The 3. Make a trade with the Giants at 6. Draft your wide receiver. Get more assets. Go get Justin Fields. You fixed your team. Let's see. You're gonna be crazy when the Eagles get Saquon and McKinney. Why would you say that? Why? Make 72. Make it, says Joe. Michael says, what do you think about the kid from Tulane? What is the kid from Tulane's name? I don't even remember his name. Michael Pratt. Is it Pratt? What do I think of Pratt? You know, I really don't have a thought process. You know, to be honest, I don't have a thought process on Pratt. If you want me to be honest, I don't. I really don't have a thought process. Online Big Blue Sports says, hi from Twitter. Please hit the like, says Swing Culture TV. OG says, always hit the like button, Tim. Stop fucking badgering me. Stanley says, I think Xavier Worthy is better route runner than John Ross. I'm not saying Xavier McKinney's not Xavier McKinney. I'm not saying Xavier Worthy's not going to be the guy. But I can't get so pumped up about a guy just because he can run fast. I can't. He's 170 pounds soaking wet, 6 feet tall. And yeah, he's got all the speed in the world. But what happens when he goes up against a guy like Deonte Banks who knocks him off his routes? Same thing happened to. I had so much high expectations for Jalen Hyatt. I even said I would not have been upset if the Giants took Jalen Hyatt in the first round. I wasn't going to be upset if they took him in the second round. I wasn't going to be upset because I thought after what he did at Michigan that he could really come through and really be something special. He showed some moments. He showed some ability. He got knocked off his routes quite a bit, and he was missed at times as well. But the problem is this: he's just a guy that he's just a guy that just couldn't go through the rigors of getting around certain defenders. He's speed, but he is quick. He's not a slouch. He's not a guy that's like, he's not one of those guys that you just, I don't know. I just want a big, what I just want? Like I said, even though I know he ran a bad 40, I want the kid out of Florida State. He's a big guy. He's got football speed. For his size, he's very agile and athletic and knows how to move. Oh, it's a Keenan Johnson. I just want a big wide receiver for a change. That's all I want. I want a number 1 Plaxico Burress target. That's what I want. LJ says, I can see McKinney with the Eagles, not Saquon, though. Hey, you never know. Joe Milton, 6th pick. Next, Josh Allen. I would take Joe Milton later in the draft. I'd take him around 5 or 6. Not 6 picks. Arch says, I wish I was filling all the rookie quarterbacks draft hype, but no, so many holes to fill. I can't take JJ. I can't take JJ. You're going to see it if you can get more interactions on Twitter. Who is better, Xavier Worthy or Leggett? I would actually take Xavier Worthy. I like Xavier Worthy. Joe Milton equals Taysom Hill. Oh, yeah. See, this is interesting. See, because I see him typing here. Oh, see. Oh, God. Okay, you're going to see more if you get more interactions on Twitter. I'm watching Twitter. I got YouTube over here. I got it on online Big Blue Live. Thank you, Fire Medic 487. I'm going to say thank you to you. Thank you. I need an official producer. I just need someone that could run these chats because I don't know what the hell I'm doing. All right. We okay. Now I'm saying Davey says, Tim, is your dark horse quarterback that you'd like to get in the middle rounds? What's funny? I'm not a Bo Nix guy, but if you want to look at someone I think that helped himself the most at the combine, it's going to be someone like Bo Nix. I think Bo Nix had a great combine. I think he did all the things that you wanted him to do, and he showed all the things that you wanted him to do, and what he wanted him to be. And honestly, if I'm going to take a late round developmental quarterback in the 6th or the 7th round, I actually would go Joe Milton. People forget with Milton, he initially won the starting job over Hendon Hooker 2 years ago. But he got injured 2 games into that season. People forget about that. Now, why he only completed 65% of his passes, 20 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, and he had 7 more on the ground. He's got all the physical tools. He's got the prototypical quarterback frame with the big classic arm. He's got the velocity. He's one of those guys. He doesn't have the quick release like Spencer Rattler, but he does not have a big wind up on those throws that are like 35, 40 yards. The kid's he's gifted, but he spent over 6 years in college. He was in college for over 6 seasons. He's got to learn touch. He's got to learn to read some defenses. Tennessee did not do him any favors by basically making him a one read quarterback with the option to run as your second read. But I would go with the Joe Milton in like round 6 or 7. Yeah, I think you might actually go round 5. Chris says, going to see if I can get you more interactions on Twitter. I don't know how Twitter works, man. Thank you, though, Christopher. I have no clue how Twitter works. Got 60 people viewing us on Twitter right now. Hi, everyone. Watch this. Hi, everyone on Twitter. I didn't even know you could do this. This is awesome. Zach, you're supposed to be my young ward who teaches me all this shit. Art says, I like Joe Milton as well. Like I said, I like Worthy as overall potential. I'm not saying that like it's bad, but I like Worthy. I like Keenan Coleman. Keenan Coleman is the guy I like as well. Keenan Coleman is the guy I like. I like him as well. We need Robert Hunt. Okay, I could go with that. I'm not going to be. Would I be upset with a Robert Hunt, the god out of Miami? He's 27 years old and is gonna need cash. He's gonna want cash. You're gonna have to be willing to take at least more than a quarter of your cap space, if not more than half, or not half, and go out and get Hunt. I don't mind Hunt if you're a few players away, but if you're not a few players away, yeah, then I mind Hunt. So I'm going up front. Real good, Judy saying, hope it's worth winning all those meaningless games. Now we put ourselves in a situation, a position where McCombs is not getting the quarterback. We may want the first round. No, we're not going to get the quarterback we want. Devin Leary can be a decent NFL backup. Devin Leary looked good at the combine as well, but Devin Leary does not have the arm strength. There were certain guys at the combine that you watched them throw that go route. You're like, ooh, that's not going to go well. You're like, that's not going to go well. I want to know what love is. So maybe I shouldn't broadcast on Twitter because then more people will watch on YouTube. Huh. I don't know, guys. I don't know. Listen, between the two, we got 180 something people watching. I never thought we'd get fucking 10. When we started doing live streams, I thought if we got 10, that would be a lot. Stanley says, this quarterback class is going to be the deepest class I can't remember in a long time. Now, Tim, what's your thoughts on Chris Jenkins, the defensive tackle out of Michigan? Do you really need a defensive tackle? That's going to be my question. Are you really going to need another defensive tackle, or are you happy somewhat with what you have in your defensive tackle room with Dexter Lawrence? Kid 6'3", 305. He's not Chris Jenkins Jr., is he? I never knew that. Is his father? Yeah, his father is used to play for the Panthers. Yeah. I think he's a strong kid. If he's going to be a defensive tackle, unless you're going to put him as a quasi end. I mean, he plays well against the run. At least he did in college. I think he's got some. He's got some good. I think he's got some good moves. I think he is slow. I mean, I don't know how it'll translate. I mean, he's a little. If you're watching him at Michigan, he was a little slow at times getting off the line, and you're not going to be able to do that at a 305 defensive tackle going up against some guys that are going to be anywhere between 315, 300 pounds. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, like I said, I can see him later. If the Giants want to go, that would be a giant move. I know his draft stock is going up, but that would be a giant move taking a defensive tackle in the second round. Let's see here. I told you this before. You said that's too much work. It is too much work. People are like, don't you want to be popular? No, I don't want to be popular. I just like talking to people. So my wife always yells at me about. It was a while ago, but we were in the supermarket, and I was wearing a Harley jacket. Shockingly, I know. And this guy started talking to me about bikes, and we were in the frozen food aisle. My wife was like, "Oh, I'll be back in a minute. I'm just gonna run down the aisle and get some couple things." She comes back 25 minutes later. She's like, I'm still talking to the guy," and she goes, and the guy leaves, and she goes, "You've been talking to this guy for a half hour. Do you know him?" I'm like, "No." I met him next to the frozen produce. Davey said, here's a curve. Would you sign a quarterback undrafted? Sure, I would sign an undrafted quarterback. I would sign any quarterback. Let's see. This is the deepest class going to be. We read the deepest quarterback class. There needs more helium. You mean hopium? Arch says this Giants need a 5-technique defensive tackle, not a 3-technique defensive tackle like Jenkins. Shane Bowman, at least from what he's heard, is going to run a 3-4 base. Here's the thing with Shane, and we've talked about this. A lot of people talked about the fact that he ran a 3-4 in Tennessee. That is actually kind of inaccurate. he did run a lot of 4-man fronts in not DC, Tennessee. He ran a lot of 4-man fronts in Tennessee. The only thing is he only blitzes like 25% of the times, for 4.5 years or 5 years he was coordinator. And what he likes to do is he likes to drop his ends into coverage. So if he's going to run a similar system, what he's going to do is he's going to have to find a guys. And honestly, if you think about it, Jenkins might be a good fit for him because of the fact that he's athletic enough, I think, to drop back. But I think he's going to be an undersized defensive tackle. I like the pedigree with his father because I liked his father over in Carolina. Didn't he also play for the Jets? But we don't know what Shane's going to run. Defensive coaches like to run their system. Here's the issue I have, though. And this was kind of weird to me with Shane Bowen. This was kind of weird. Shane Bowen came to the Giants, right? And just imagine if we waited a week, what we could have had. But I'm not going to get into that. Just waited a week after the Super Bowl. I'm not saying Shane's going to be bad, but we talked about the whole Jim Schwartz thing. We talked about how Jim Schwartz was a mentor for 2 years. We talked about how bad his pass defense was when he had the title, but he did not have the title that year, the COVID year as defensive coordinator per Mike Vrabel, but then he got the title. And for 2 years, Schwartz mentored him. Schwartz even admitted it. We read the article from the Tennessee Titans website, and then Schwartz leaves, takes the coordinator job over in Cleveland, and the pass defense falls off the planet again. His 2 years without Schwartz as a pass defensive guy, there were bookends between the two good seasons, were horrid. So he's not a guy that I have this warm, fuzzy feeling about. And people are like, well, he knows how to stop the run. Well, here's the problem. If you have a bad pass defense, I wish I knew how those like buttons. How does the like bubbles come up? How does that happen? If you have a good pass defense, or excuse me, if you have a good run defense, you're probably going to pass. But if you know someone has a bad pass defense, you're not going to run. You're going to throw the ball more. That's how they lost those overtime games like to Indianapolis, and that's how they got into these games in overtime because of the fact that their pass defense folded like a cheap tent. So that's Something like the stream so we grow the channel and know more people. Yeah, we do a good job annoying people. We really do a good job annoying people. I love when people send me things that they go on live stream and they throw out my name and everything just goes crashing down. Zach, do you think John Mara had more control over this? I think John Mara's got all the control. I think John Mara is Mr. Control. I think John Mara thinks he's Jerry Jones, but he's not. Mr. Alvarez says that the Giants defy everyone and go corner or offensive line at 6. I might go insane. Being popular is dumb. Being controversial is fun. Oh, my God. I got a couple minutes here. Let's see. James, T-Brad, any of you guys out there? Dom, anyone want to jump in for a minute? I haven't seen my brothers in a while. I'm going to put the link in the chat. I know I want to talk to Dom a minute. For those that do not know, you can also go on NewYorkGiantsLive.com, watch all the videos, watch live streams, read daily articles about the New York Football Giants written by yours truly. The Dahmer wrote an article, those that do not wrote, about John Mara and the Fun House, which was not very much fun. But that was a good article. Zach says Shane Bowen is worried about our pass coverage. Steve Wilks. Oh God, I wish Steve Wilks was our guy. I really do wish Steve Wilks was our guy. Here's my thought process, guys, on free agency. The Giants need, and we say, and it's stupid to say, but I'm going to say it anyway. The Giants need to be smart. The Giants need to have an understanding of where they are right now as an organization. You have almost $40 million in cap space. You can save. If you release Waller post June 1st, you save another 12. But you also have a lot of dead cap space. But at the end of the day, the Giants need to be prudent. They need to target guys that are going to come in here and fit the scheme, whatever the scheme is, and they're going to have a contract value. Like I said, if you're not going to get a Wilson, I don't want Jacoby Brissett. go get me the porn stash, because the porn stash started all those games in Indianapolis, had almost the same stats as Daniel Jones, but is not going to get $160 million. Baker Mayfield in Tampa, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers came out and said, we are not going to pay Baker Mayfield yet. Well, if you look at Baker Mayfield's stats compared to what Daniel Jones got that 1 year with his over 4,000 yards and 20 plus touchdowns, he led his team to the playoffs. Baker Mayfield should get $60 million a year, but they already said they may not even give him 30. So go out and find your quarterback who can tutor whoever you're going to bring in. Look at the guard situation, because you can't go with Pugh and Bredesen. You can't. But the problem is this: you also just can't go out there and spend $16 million on a guard on a team that you have so many other holes. That's what you got to look at. What's his name? Kevin Dodson just signed for 3 years, $48 million. So you can't go out there and use those deep pockets. I like Robert Hunt, but Robert Hunt's going to like money. I like Kevin Zeiler, but I don't think Kevin Zeiler is going to leave Baltimore. You need a backup offensive tackle. You need a guy that if Evan Neal's flames out and you do want to move him to guard, you got to get someone like a Trent Brown. But again, like I said, contract value for Trent Brown, I think, is going to be pretty high. You need to find a defensive end. Being financially prudent is what you need to do. Yeah, you can go out and get a Leonard Floyd. I think you'd be a good guy. But again, he's 32 years old. So you can't bring in 30 plus guys, 30 plus age guys. Look what you did with Waller. We talked about the Waller thing ad nauseum. Talked about it the day they traded for him. I said, well, if you're getting Waller from 2 years ago, I'm down. But if I'm getting Waller from the last 2 seasons with bad hamstrings, like I said, I always think of Ricky Williams. Not Ricky Williams. I always think of Ricky Henderson with the Yankees. When he talked about his hammies. Once your hammies go, that's it. You always have hamstring problems. And he didn't fit the system. And we talked about it right off the bat. That Carolina, the one drive the first team offensive had, that Carolina game preseason, I was there. I think we were in row 8 on the 50. So I had a bird's eye view of the play. And Daniel Jones threw Waller into contact. And I said I forgot who was there with me. I think that's when OG was there and some other people. And I said to everyone right then and there, listen, he does that during the regular season, he's going to get him killed. Waller, that is. And we kind of saw what happened with Waller. We have the one, the only. Hold on, let me see. I don't know if I have the right one, but I'm going to find it.
Give me the honey. Give me the honey.
Oh, yeah.
Give me the honey.
You know what time it is. You know where we go from here. It's the one. It's the only. The love child of the Giants. No. What's up, T-Brad? It's the one Michigan. Repping the Michigan gear. It's the T-Brad.
Hey, what's going on? What's going on, people?
Well, let's see. We got free agency, the legal tampering period starting at noon tomorrow. We got almost 40 million in cap space.
We'll blow it. We'll blow it.
The consummate professional Giant fan.
Yeah, well, I'm to the point where Joe Schoen can get fired tomorrow. That's where I'm at. Yeah, you know what it is.
You've gone that deep already.
Yeah. I've seen. Now, if I'm hoping I'm wrong, I'm really, I'm a optimistic, pessimistic person.
Okay, I like that.
So I'm being pessimistic because that way my hopes aren't up. But when you look at just some of the things he's done over this last year, and don't get me wrong, I love the Banks pick, some of the draft picks. I wasn't too upset with. They were what they were, but when you look at the handling of the Barkley situation, just the Barkley situation,
right,
and the Jones situation, and the McKinney situation, the handling of the Daniel Jones contract put all this other stuff in motion while these other good players out in limbo. And I'm just not a fan of having players that you draft, they're homegrown. He didn't draft them, but they're drafted here. They play good here. and you let him go for nothing. That's a problem. Like you knew, like Saquon Barkley's number wasn't changing from last year to this year. It wasn't going down. You still want to guarantee money. You knew you weren't willing to meet those terms. Trade deadline last year, you just don't trade him. You don't get nothing. Nothing. McKinney said early, I ain't giving no hometown discount. Said that kind of early.
Well, we should have known there was going to be a McKinney issue before the beginning of the season. Shane came out and said that he was not going to negotiate with McKinney during the season.
Right. And then you come in the off season and do nothing to secure him. And again, maybe because I remember the Landon Collins situation. Maybe the guy doesn't fit into the new defense coordinator's plans. Maybe. But you set yourself up once again to leave empty-handed and get nothing. But for the player who has, and I hate to keep bashing Daniel Jones, it's not his fault that he's not good. But at the same time, this guy gets paid the guarantee money, all that, just because of the position he plays. But the players who've been playing good at their position, you're telling them, you go ahead and leave. We drafted you. Thanks for the memories. And go somewhere else and be great. We're not going to get anything for you. It just looks like bad management of the team.
Now, Arch Galloway here has a really good comment. And I've talked about this before. And we talked about the day that Jones contract was signed. The Jones contract has really hampered our ability to keep homegrown talent. That's on Shane. When the Jones contract came out, there were so many people that were so enamored by this deal. And there were some idiots like us that sat there and said, if this flames out, this is going to set the team back an additional 4 years starting in 2024. Because people were looking at the contract value or the salary for last year, not what it was going to be next year. Like I said, it reminds me of the poison pill on the Jeremy Lin contract. You had that one sandwich year that is so bad that if everything goes horrible the first year, it's just going to wreck everything, to the point that if you did not put yourself in a position where you could sign Barkley and McKinney back, because if you only have $39 million in cap space, and let's just say conservatively, not the entire cap number, but let's say they give you a good enough contract value that first year, you still may take $18 million out of your 40 just to bring these two guys back on a roster that's already depleted of talent.
Yeah.
And I think that's what a lot of people didn't look at. And to McKinney's point, why would a McKinney who is 24 years old give a hometown discount? And like I said to you, Brad, so many people talk about, well, there's the Joe had read the safety market perfectly. Look at all these safeties that are getting released. Okay.
How old are they?
They're 30-plus-year-old safeties coming off injuries that have.
But that's our MO. That's what we like.
Have a high cap hit, which is why they got released. You have a 24-year-old safety that can play both strong safety, free safety, play in the box, and play 100% of the snaps, play against the run, and cover.
We don't pay that.
No,
we don't like that.
Screw that. Why do we?
We love to.
What do we need?
We love to go on free agent and get like older. I shouldn't say old, but older injury-prone players. Like we'll trade for that. Waller. We'll trade for players who are past their prime and injured. Why do we do that?
Do you remember last year when we signed what's his name, Bobby McCain or McLean, whatever?
Yeah.
Safety over from Washington. And everyone told me this was going to be such a great signing. Everyone's going to be so great signing. And my thing was this. I even said it then and there. If he was such a great player, why did Washington just let him walk at 27 years old? I said he didn't fit the Giants scheme. It doesn't fit the system. And he couldn't, even with the injuries, who did they go with? They went with Dane Belton. I mean, so it's a guy that if you misread the market and you sign that guy to a contract, even though Bobby didn't cost us a lot of money, it still cost us a roster space because of the fact that we were looking for a depth piece that wasn't there. And I get worried that the Giants are going to start looking for these pieces and they're just going to overpay, like Robert Hunt. Great guard out of Miami. Value pick, but I think he's going to want at least $16 million. So even if you cut that first year number down to 9, you're going to be looking then at less than $30 million in cap space with 46 players under contract and still holes everywhere else. So long story short, T-Brad, what direction do you think the Giants head into in this free agency? What do you think they're going to do, and what do you think they should do?
I have no idea what they're going to do. I remain to be surprised by them. So I think they're going to do more of the same, overpay, because they have to overpay to get players. Like, if you got an option to go to the Eagles or the Giants right now, you're a young top level talent. Where are you going?
Going to Philadelphia.
Yeah, you want to win. The only way people go to teams that aren't winning is they get overpaid, or they just have a situation like, oh, that's my coach, or that's this and that's that, and they go there. I would honestly like the Giants, and I know we got to fix the offensive line. Please don't beat me upside the head with that. Fix the offensive line. I get it. It's been a 10-year project, and our project management sucked with getting this offensive line together. But
we don't have good project management. I like that.
Let's to being the New York Giants, who's a physical defense. Let's get back there. So if we can get people together that can make this defense physical in free agency, get a corner, get a linebacker, get a defensive tackle. I don't know who's out there, but let's focus on our defense in free agency. Like, I've been hearing so many wide receiver names. Like, one name I liked was Hollywood Brown. I kind of like that name a lot. But
Brown, I think he would be a guy. A little bit of an injury issues over in Baltimore. Also played with Lamar Jackson. I thought he would be a good guy. I did have one question though for you, because we talked about this early in the stream, and I don't know if you were here for this. The Giants have a tendency to overpay players because, to your point, you have to sometimes overpay someone to get them to come to New York because of the situation that we're in. But there are also players out there that had value that the Giants could have picked up. And I always bring up David Long Jr., the linebacker who was in Tennessee. He went over to Miami, an off-the-ball linebacker, had almost 120 tackles with Miami. He's a guy that I really thought that he would fit in the Giants system, in the Wink system. Instead, but he signed a 2-year, $10 million contract. Now, Bobby Okereke, who I think had a very good season for the Giants, we signed him to a 4-year, $40 million contract.
Mm-hmm.
And they had Okereke had some more tackles, but he also had more snaps. But they had, in some regards, some eerily similar seasons, but one guy is making $5 million a year and the other guy is making 10. And I said we overpaid for Bobby, and there's nothing wrong with that because you needed to bring him in. Why do you think and I haven't seen this in a couple years now, and I hadn't seen it even going back to the Gettleman and maybe towards the Reese era, like Antonio Pierce. Antonio Pierce was a guy that was coming into his own in Washington before we signed him, but he still wasn't that big name. Why do you think the Giants haven't really found those guys, those diamond in the roughs, those guys that are on the cusp of being something over, like, it's been the last almost 15 years, that we bring in these guys that cost so much money, but we don't find that fruit on the tree that's not ripe yet, but it's going to turn into a delicious apple in a season. Why do you think we're not finding those guys?
We're not good at it anymore. I guess we're not good at it anymore. We the cruises and things like that. We're just not good at that. I can't put anything to it because it's difficult to do for anybody, but we used to have at least one training camp. This guy come in and they're picked low and they play great. You know what I mean? When you look, and I'm going back, Michael Strahan wasn't a first round pick. He's a second round pick.
Second round pick.
You know what I mean? A lot of people don't even remember that. It's like Strahan was a second round pick. I remember that one. And we just lost that. And I think over the last 5 years, here's Daniel Jones again, we've done everything we could to make our team appear as though it's better than it looks. Like, we've done a great job of putting names on paper, not necessarily talent. You know,
Ooh,
I'm going back to when we picked up Brad Solder or Nate Solder and all these other people. We're putting names out there, but not quality talent. And when those big contracts go down, or those free agent contracts go down, guess what? We're right back where we were before. We don't put together a full accomplishment, a full menu of offense and a defense. We haven't had wide receivers. And again, anybody who's looking for anything sympathetic for Daniel Jones from me, this is what I always say, that Daniel Jones has never had a number one wide receiver. Never. And that sucks. This game today is played with wide receivers. You got to have those wide receivers. If you're not going to play running back, it seems like
who were Mahomes' wide receivers outside of Jason, and who was his running back?
If you have elite quarterback play,
There you go.
you don't have then you don't need that. But
somebody wants to go with Jabbar Gaffney.
Right. If somebody, like, if you go back to when we traded Odell Beckham, or when they traded him, because I wasn't on board with that, Odell Beckham Jr., the big mantra was the Giants don't need diva wide receivers. We don't need any diva wide receivers. I'd like to have Tyreek Hill. I'll take that diva wide receiver any day now. You know what I mean?
Some fans also said we don't need a diva quarterback.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I wouldn't call Daniel Jones a diva quarterback.
Caleb Williams.
Oh, yeah. Well, again, I'm not as big on Caleb Williams as everybody else is. I see some red flags myself. But trust me, if he's on the board, we take him. But I don't know where the Giants are, man. I've never, ever, as a Giants fan, even during the Kent Graham, Dave Brown years, I've never felt this loss as a fan because we had defense at least at one point. Now our defense, we're trying to get it together. We don't know if Kavon Thibodeaux is this or that. We have to pay money. We have to pay money. That's the only thing I can say.
James, why are you not on the chat? Because T-Brad's depressing me.
I'm sorry. You want me to be positive? I can be positive.
I want you to be positive, but damn, I thought I was depressing. T-Brad's literally depressing me.
I'm telling you, it's when you look at us, it's like, okay, we got a nice, great young pickup at corner. That's good. We got Lawrence in the center. That's good. We got Thibodeaux. Okay. He still can be a bust. He still can be great. Let's put something together to let him be great. Now, this is when I get depressed. I'm going through the levels. We got the linebacker, you got a character in there, corner over one side. On the other side, who we got?
Darious Williams.
Right. And then we go to safety. We had a young, talented player who we just said we're not going to pay. We're going to create a hole on a team that already has holes. That's what has me frustrated. We're creating holes where we already have holes. We have holes on defense in the secondary.
We are creating holes on a defense that didn't need us to create any more holes.
Thank you.
And that's what we did. And that's exactly what we did. And I know certain Giant fans devalue the safety position, but I always go back to Yusef Corker. Does anyone remember? Anyone remember Yusef Corker? The big safety out of an undrafted free agent out of Kentucky.
Yeah.
I've been watching Giant YouTubers and Twitter extol his virtues and how he was going to be the Giants' starting safety day one.
I bought into it.
I think he's at home. I think he's working at Home Depot. Didn't work out. And we said it before. There's a reason why you go undrafted. And of course, you can't always say that because there are some diamonds in the rough for undrafted players. But when you're relying on a guy that is undrafted to come in and take over a position and lead that position group, when you already had a leader who you're probably going to let go, you're going to end up with the likes of Yusef Corker or Dane Belton starting for you in 2024.
Yeah.
You created a situation that did not need to happen if you did not overpay a quarterback who is not even worth the value. I mean, like I said, we've talked about it before. I've talked to people that worked in the league and were still working in the league that said that Daniel Jones, if he would have hit the open market after that year, maybe would have gotten Trubisky money.
I'm going to be honest. I don't think that Dave Gettleman would have re-signed
You know what's
Daniel
weird?
Jones. That's his guy.
I had a conversation with somebody about that, and we both came up to the same conclusion that if Dave Gettleman was still here and Dave Gettleman had a playoff win like that, I don't think Dave Gettleman would have brought him back for $160 million.
Nope. And someone said, you might know him, but someone said when we signed him that's Joe Shane's guy now.
I'd said that.
Someone said that. You might know a guy who said that.
I might know him. He's dashingly handsome and a fuck your sensitivity act.
Yeah. But it's one of those things. It's like, that's true. And again, whether it's Mara or it's Shane, your name was on the check. Your name is on the check. You authorized it. You put the voucher in, and you own this Daniel Jones catastrophe. Daniel Jones is the reason we can't sign Saquon Barkley. Daniel Jones is the reason we can't sign, not him, but his contract is the reason we can't sign McKinney the way we need to.
We have to add this person in because I need to balance out the Michigan. I got to balance out the Michigan with the mighty Ohio State. How the mighty has fallen.
Yeah. Word.
I feel bad. I have a Black Rifle shirt on. I don't have a Michigan shirt on or anything. I gotta.
Listen, we draft young Logan. I'll have me a McCarthy jersey just to get Jones out of here.
I want to go through some of these comments real quick that James is here because I see Art said Rich Eisen's coming out and saying that they heard the Giants have buyer's remorse after the combine says it all. Do either of you guys? I mean. What was your thought on that? That allegedly the Giants have buyer's remorse on the Jones contract.
I agree that I think that's true. 100%.
Yeah, I believe that for the first time, Shane and Daboll are looking at each other, going, "Man, we should have probably fought this with Mara about signing this guy a little more."
Just a little bit. Sublight says we traded old broken players as if they were to keep us competitive while we rebuild and never works out for us. Of course, it never does. Mr. Jackson says, I know it isn't DJ's fault, but every bad decision was made has been for him. I don't want to see his face anymore. It's like seeing your bully get paid for hurting you.
Ooh.
Damian, that's fucking deep. I don't want to meet your bully. Because your bully must be at least 6'9", 400 pounds and can lift a Buick. Because that, you know what? Wow. That really sums it up. I mean, I can't. Can either of you guys add to that? Because I can't. I'm literally dumbfounded by that one. I'm stunned by that comment because it's so apropos.
I would just say real quick, let me jump in there, Brother T. I would just say real quick, the first thing is, number one, it is partly DJ's fault because if he was better, the team would be better, and some of these pieces around him would look better. Again, Jalen Hyatt, I don't know how good that guy is. Wan'Dale Robinson, I have no idea how good that guy is. We signed Paris Campbell. He was John Ross 2.0. All the speed and none of the catch. You know, the only weapon we've really had besides Saquon that people trash is Slayton. And on a really good team, Slayton is probably a number 3. But on our team, he's number 1. So it's like it goes hand in hand. DJ's fault, Shane's fault, and Daboll, Mara's fault. They're all complicit. All three sides.
Yeah.
Skyline wants to know, and this is a good question because I say yes to this question. If we get Russell Wilson, should we still draft a quarterback? There you go. It's the bobblehead collection. Yes, I think.
You want to get a Michigan and Ohio State fan together? Yes.
That's what.
Yes.
You
know what's crazy? You know what's crazy? We're pining for either Fields, an Ohio State guy, or even McCarthy. Isn't that funny? Like one or the other, baby. Give me one or the other, please.
You know, it's funny. I'm not sold on McCarthy. I think T-Brad talks about there's a lot of red flags with Caleb Williams. I think there's more red flags with McCarthy, but there's also more unknown with McCarthy because of the fact that he was not asked to do at Michigan. But if we traded down and took McCarthy at 20, I'm going to be with Brother James. I am going out and getting a McCarthy jersey. And I will wear it every time I go to the stadium. I will wear it every time I'm on the stream. I will wear it no matter anytime I go to an event. I will wear it. I will ask Daniel Jones a question during the next town hall wearing a JJ McCarthy jersey. Hell, I may do that if the Giants don't even draft JJ McCarthy.
I dig it.
But you're just to that. I'm just to that point. I mean, I like the bully comment. Frankie S says, let's sell the farm, trade down. Would you guys trade down to get assets? I'm going to start with T.
Ooh, it would take a lot of finessing because our trade downs have been really terrible as of late. We've been leaving, like, the whole purpose of having an early pick.
Good either.
Yeah, exactly. The whole purpose of having a pick early is to get top level talent. So to trade back and get a low level talent when you have a bad team means you're basically tanking the year, which I don't think Shane or Dable can afford because of what's happened. To go up, then down, they're going to try to right the ship enough, and it's going to leave us in the middle. So if we trade down, I'd say you trade to maybe 10, but it's according to what we get. Are we getting another second? So we have 3 seconds. You know, it depends on what we get. So I can't. I prefer that we just get Neighbors or a Doomsday, whoever's there, and best player available. That's what I say.
James, what's your thought process in trading down?
Only if we're gonna take a wide receiver and then match him with his quarterback later on. If that's their plan, trade down, you know, fine. But if we're not trying to get a quarterback, then no. I'm like T-Brad. We have holes. We need to take the best available guy there, somebody that's a real thoroughbred, not somebody that we're hoping is going to finish the race, and we need to take the best player available. If they're going for a quarterback, then I'm fine.
I'll say this too. If we trade down gradually, then that could be good. Where if we trade back to 8, then we trade back to 10 while monitoring who, because when a team picks, they got 3 players at least on their board. They got at least 3 players on their board. So you drop from 6 to 8. All right, a couple of your players went, but you got some that are still there. Maybe that tight end from Georgia might be the guy. Because we're probably going to lose Waller anyway. And you still get a tight end we're going to need anyway. So we could trade back and keep Bowers.
Does it really matter if you lose something that sucks?
This is a family show, so I'm not going to really talk about it.
Can't block. Can't stay healthy.
But we traded for that.
Well, I didn't say we were smart. I didn't say that.
How do we do it?
Oh, my God.
Mac Jones traded. Yep.
There we go.
Let you know where New England stands on a quarterback situation.
Mac Jones, I wanted to bring this up because I do have to head out, but Mac Jones got traded to, of all places, Jacksonville, who has Trevor Lawrence. So Trevor Lawrence had an issue staying healthy and being on the field last year. I mean, is that, James, I'm going to start with you. Is that more of a clear indication that they are going quarterback with that 3rd overall pick? I don't think Mac Jones was going to be, I'm shocked they got anything for him. I didn't think he was going to be on the team either way. So to me, I don't think it ever is changing much in their decision-making process. I still think they should trade for Fields and take Marvin Harrison Jr.
I think, well, that's what we want them to do. But I think that it ups the chances of them taking a quarterback. I'm still not until I told you, I think off screen, when we get towards the end of this month, beginning of April, then I'll start believing more of what I'm hearing. But right now we're still in that weird, twilight zone of I don't know what's really going to happen yet. And I do think it's funny though that the Bears have had the top pick for 2 years in a row, but they haven't traded Fields yet, even though everybody thinks they're going to. Yet the Patriots already got rid of Jones, even though we all know they weren't going to make him the long-term answer anyway. But the Bears, I just find it funny. Everybody's like, oh, they're going to take Caleb. They're going to get rid of Fields. And they're probably still sitting there because I can tell you right now, I have family in Chicago. The fan base in Chicago supports Fields more majority than less. It's not like us with the Daniel Jones where we're like 50-50 bumping heads. The fan base in Chicago actually supports that kid. So the Bears brass is really thinking like, damn, if we trade this guy, Caleb has to come in here and not only win us over, but he has to win over the fan base. So I just find it funny that we ran out and signed our guy after having one good playoff game. But these guys who have had now 2 years in a row chances to upgrade that position have actually contemplating it, So with the Patriots thing, I think it ups their chances. But the Patriots are weird, They'll take a tackle, they'll take the tight end. We don't know because they have a lot of holes too. So I'm not sure yet.
They have a lot of holes, and I want to thank everyone that's watching on Twitter and on YouTube. We are at 260 something people.
What are our likes looking like?
Well, the problem is we got a lot of people on Twitter watching, which is great. I don't know if we hit 100 likes yet, but we have 120 something people watching over 120 something people watching on whatever that's called, YouTube. We're at 90 likes. Let's get to that 100. I want to thank everyone that has been watching on Twitter. I haven't been ignoring Twitter. I just didn't know how it worked till about 30 minutes ago. So now I can see that we're kind of like broadcasting on Twitter. So that's really cool.
Good stuff.
At the end of the day. So I want to thank everyone that's really going over here and pushing us forward. Big Chris says, or better yet, a Big 12 shirt, say Kansas State.
On purpose?
Oh. Mothman Logleg says, Cut Waller. Big Blue Forever says, let's get Tim 100 likes. Blackbird McKnight is hitting in the chat as we're getting ready to leave. Frankie says, give Mara some crazy pills during the draft. OG Knockout says, Carson Wentz, Russell Wilson, Porn Stash, Jimmy G, etc. Who should the Giants get? I would say, if you're not going to get Russell Wilson, I say you go Minshew.
I like Russell Wilson only because he's been humble. Like, he's got something to prove. He's out here to show, like, I wasn't just a product of Seattle. I'm a leader. So, and it's his last hurrah. It's not like he's gonna lose any money. So
no, he's not losing any money.
You know how humbling this would be for Russell Wilson? Think about this, James. You would come to New York and have to beat out Daniel Jones to be the starting quarterback after going to 2 Super Bowls, throwing for over 30,000 yards, almost 300 touchdowns. You would have to cut. That is beyond humbling. I think Sierra would leave him if he lost out to Daniel Jones.
No, that guaranteed money, she ain't going nowhere for a while anyway. That's her. I didn't say that. Like, she ain't going nowhere for a while. That's a lot of guaranteed money.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Melo said that about Lala.
That's a lot of money to just. He could ride the super bench, meaning the couch, with Justin Pugh at home, and he's going to make what Daniel Jones made the last couple of years.
Blackbeard says, dang, I missed the stream. Big Mike Glenn coming in the chat saying, Bears are going to get the best offer and hold on to Fields. I still think they're holding on to Fields. I don't know. I might be crazy, but I still think they're holding on to Fields.
Here's something that could happen with that question you have for New England. Here's something that could happen. Maybe New England is confident that the Bears are going to either get it. They have that shot at any quarterback they want except the first one in New England. So if the Bears draft Caleb Williams, New England's now in play to trade for Justin Fields and draft Marvin Harrison.
Well,
even though it's
what's crazy about Chicago? Chicago finished 7-10 last year, and
borderline playoffs.
it wasn't at times, it wasn't Justin Fields that held Chicago back. It was the defense. And people forget they started 0-4. And it wasn't until they had the turnaround game against the Commanders where they beat them like 40-0 or 40-20 did they start rolling. And they rolled a little bit. You know, they would win a game here, lose a game here, win a game here. And they would beat teams that they would beat Minnesota. You know, they would go out and beat the Lions. They beat the Falcons. They beat the Cardinals. They beat the guys that were on their schedule. But a lot of times it wasn't Fields. It was the defense that let the Bears down. And they started coming around the second half when they got Montez Sweat. But and I liked what's his name, Edmonds, the linebacker, and a couple other guys on the team. You get a strong corner in the draft, and you pick up another wide receiver. You get him. Let's say you trade down, you get a Marvin Harrison Jr. and you pair him up with DJ Moore and that St. James Pierre, whatever his name is, and the other speedster they have. Mm-hmm. And then you got Khalil Herbert, and you take a running back in the third round. You got a lot of picks, and you got a ton of money. The Bears can remake themselves this entire year, not only through free agency but the draft, just by holding on to Justin Fields and getting a ransom for that first pick.
Yeah, I mean, and remember, the Bears traded away their best defensive player, I think, the year when Fields became the starter, Roquan. They traded Roquan Smith. Thank you. They traded away their best defensive player. So how good was the defense really going to be?
They got really clean. Well, what happened was, unlike our general manager, they knew they weren't going to keep that money on the books, and they got something for that person.
I like Ryan Poles. I wanted Ryan Poles over Joe Schoen. I think everyone knew that. I did a video.
He's a little savvy. He's a little more savvy than our guy.
I don't know if he's savvy, but he came from an organization, in my mind, that understood the philosophy of not holding on to players, getting something for them, and understanding how to win. And I'm not saying they didn't do that in Buffalo. I just think that Ryan had more of a tutelage in reference to that in Kansas City.
Mm-hmm. Well, just look at the direction of the two franchises.
Exactly. So I mean, they both rely on a quarterback, but one also understands how to build around a quarterback. And you may not have those large name players, at the running back position, at the wide receiver position. Hell, you may not even have an offensive line, because there was a times in Kansas City where the offensive line almost got Mahomes killed.
Mm-hmm. Well, you got an elite quarterback. He doesn't need a perfect line.
All right, guys, it is 12:13. I got to get out of here because it is a sunny day and it's going to be a crappy day for the next 2 days. So I'm going to go spend some time with the family. Hope everyone has a great weekend. We are going to stream at noon on Monday. We did a stream on, I think it was Thursday, the 12 o'clock stream, and it went over so well. I'm going to do I'll do another noon stream because it's going to be right before the kickoff of the legal tampering period. Gino says, love the channel, the guest best Giants conversation content on YouTube. What about on Twitter? What about the 79 people that are viewing us on Twitter right now?
Oh, listen, Tim, if you start stealing people from Twitter from other content creators, you're just going to get more hate. So just prepare for that. You're getting people on Twitter watching you now, brother.
I love getting hate. Yeah, we're beating Charlie right now. Charlie Vacchiano. He's only got 30. We have 79 plus.
You got to get the Dave Chappelle clip from the Players Ball. Hate, 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 hate.
Oh my God. But here at Online Big Blue, we've said it before. The audience is growing. 100 likes, GW. You are welcome. The audience is growing. We are no longer.
There isn't anything for you here. I have men at my back, and you stand alone and defy me. I'm not alone.
We are no longer alone. The OBB Nation has grown.
Yeah, I tell you what, man, this feed and having fun and having a good place to talk, Giants football and social stuff and just hang out. It's just become like a happy hour for fans to talk a little trash and keep it real. It's been a lot of fun. It's always fun to catch up with people and get different perspectives.
I always appreciate when you guys come on, as always. And as always, this is Tim. This is New York Giants Straight Time. Part of the Online Big Blue LC. We have the T-Brad. We have the James. Big stream on Sunday at noon, Monday at noon. Make sure you're there. Check out all the videos coming up. Go Blue!
National champions.
National champions. Everyone have a great weekend. We are out of here.